that focused on national to local for mobile. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Sure. So everyone's really excited about mobile, obviously. It's a core theme at all the conferences we run and all the conversations we have out there in the marketplace. The paper's goal was really to, I guess, cut through a lot of that clutter and find out really where the opportunities are. And a lot of that starts with usage. We just saw last week, Samsung came up with the the Samsung Galaxy S4 phone. And that is what everyone's saying is going to be the next iPhone killer, and that term is often thrown around a lot. But the point is the innovation is really ratcheting up by a lot of these hardware providers, and that's the first step towards a lot of the mobile usage we see. For example, Google says about 20% of all searches are happening on the mobile device, and about 50% of those have local intent. So there's really a lot of opportunity based on that usage to start to utilize things like mobile user searches that are looking for things locally. The calls to action that are within those types of content are really allowing advertisers, particularly advertisers interested in local conversions, to really start to drive those conversions and track them in very tangible ways that give them a clear sense of ROI.
Sure. Well, you know, on our recent conference, we had the comment from Cars.com that 100 and some percent of reviews are going online through the mobile device first.
Absolutely, and mobile first is a term we hear a lot. A lot of product developers, a lot of companies that are building mobile strategies are doing so in a way that is built from the ground up for the mobile device, versus the kind of first generation of mobile innovation where it took a desktop strategy and brought it over into mobile, which isn't as effective.
Right. So one of the things that we always have been hearing about recently is the fact that usage on mobile and advertising on mobile, there's a huge disparity. And we track a lot of different media, so we see the inverse with newspaper or with in some other media, but mobile hasn't caught up yet. Are we getting close to that tipping point?
Yeah, so I think that that's a very good point. There is an imbalance between the time spent with mobile as a share of media and the corresponding share of ad dollars going towards mobile. And really what that says is two different things. In the optimistic viewpoint, that leaves a lot of headroom for mobile to grow in terms of those ad dollars catching up with the usage. Now on the downside, however, in the meantime, that imbalance has actually been tantamount to an oversupply of ad inventory based on all that usage. So what that has done is actually depressed mobile ad rates even further. So that has actually slowed down the adoption on the sell side. The publisher is trying to monetize their products with mobile advertising, because that monetization opportunity is somewhat mitigated by that imbalance between supply and demand. It's actually slowed that down. But we see that turning around with things like localization, local campaigns that are known to have higher performance. And with that comes higher premiums. So it's more kind of attractive advertising that's has higher levels of engagement.
So let's take that one step further. So we've recently come out with our forecast for 2013 and beyond. How does that factor into your projections?
Good question. So a lot of this usage, advertiser adoption really comes into the inputs we use when we kind of crunch all these numbers and come out with our forecast. It's very data driven, very much looking at important inputs in the marketplace. So what we see is right now, or I should say 2012, at the first year of our forecast, looking forward 5 years, 2012, mobile advertising revenue in the US is about $3.2 billion. That's growing to almost $17 billion by 2017, which is a CAGR, compound annual growth rate, of about 39%. Now it's interesting that inclusive of that, the portion of that overall ad spend that's going to location-targeted mobile campaigns is actually growing at a faster rate. It's about a 50% CAGR, and that's about 38% of the total ad spend in 2012, going to about 54% of the total ad spend in 2016. And there's a lot of ways that's playing out.